CITN support the windfall tax. CITN support it. Our focus is that Nigeria must be great. We must lead the black nation with pride. And once Nigeria is successful, other black nations will be successful.
We are still continuing our chat with the 16th president of the Institute, Barrister Samuel Agbeluyi. Barrister Agbeluyi, welcome once again.
Thank you. It is my pleasure.
You spoke about the membership of the Institute being multidisciplinary. Accountants, lawyers, economists. We would like to know, how has this variety helped in engendering tax compliance in the citizenry?
You are asking me for the benefit of diversity. You see, I am happy and with all sense of modesty to say that I'm an accountant. And I'm also a tax professional, and I'm a lawyer. So this has given me a very good ground to see what is actually going on. You can't be one and you claim the ownership of all. If you are an economist, you need a lot to learn to be a proper tax professional. A lot to learn in law, a lot to learn in accounting. If you are an accountant, you have a lot to learn in economics. The economy we study in accounting is not sufficient. So you need wider knowledge in economics. And of course, the business law we study in accounting is also not enough. So you need to update yourself and learn acquire a lot of knowledge law-wise. It is the combination of this, and that's why it's called tripod. It's the combination of this that makes you a great tax professional. This diversity has enormous benefit. You don't have people seeing issues from just one perspective alone. I'll give you an example. If you are a tax administrator and you have taxpayer who has come to you to explain the reason for his dwindling tax remittance, I'll give you an example. If your business is bakery, and I'm a tax administrator, and I look at your 2022 financial statement, 2023 financial statement, 2024 financial statement, and I can see that the graph is not moving up, rather it's coming down. I should use my general economic sense to know that that sector has not been doing very well. So it is not enough, and it is not in all cases that you have tax revenue or tax remittance from your client or the taxpayer, that you have it moving up. I collected 100,000 in 2022. I'm expecting 120 in 2023. I'm expecting 150 in 2024, as the case may be. It is possible, because of the reality of the economic situation in that sector, that it will go the other way. So if you're a tax administrator and a member of this institute, that knowledge will help you in performing your duty. If I'm a consultant to a company in the telecom sector, and I get a letter, maybe desk review, or letter inviting me for audit, or to make some clarification from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, I must know, because I know what has happened in that sector. Beyond, first of all, you look at what is happening in that sector, your understanding of the economics and your understanding of how the system interplay will assist you in relating with FRS. Because at the end of the day, both the people working in the Inland Revenue or Federal Inland Revenue or State Internal Revenue Services, and even the consultant and the taxpayer, we should all have one goal, the goal of doing the right thing. Once we do the right thing, then of course we are moving the country forward.
And if we may ask, what do we really mean when we talk about tax compliance?
Tax compliance is simple and it's very complex. Simple in the sense that do the right thing. That is what the law says. No discretion. So if the law says you pay VAT of 7.5. The tax controller does not have the discretion to say, oh no, because we are from the same village, don't pay 7.5, come and pay 5%. And he doesn't have the power to say, okay, because we are from a very hostile village, I'm not going to take 7.5 from you, I'm going to take 10%. It doesn't have. It is as prescribed by the law. So now, the reality in Nigeria is that people find it difficult. Some people, let me not generalize, some people find it difficult because they bring in some other emotional matters into the discussion. You don't need to like the president of this country to be tax compliant. But we can't ignore that point. We can't ignore the fact that there has been trust deficit. And I tell you, it is not easy to pay when you are not comfortable that your money will be used properly. And this is not about the federal government alone. Even at the state level or local government, once people don't have the confidence that whatever they pay will be properly utilized, then of course they are reluctant in doing the right thing. Once they are reluctant in doing the right thing, their tax compliance is low or is going to be low. So that is a major step. Majority of Nigeria, and I've been in tax practice for quite some time, so I can say this. Majority of Nigerians want to pay the right amount of taxes. So they want to be tax compliant. They don't want anybody to come and knock on their door to ask them to do one thing or the other. But when you look at the hostile business environment, in the country, sometimes you have a sense, particularly if you are a business owner, that the moment you set up your company, it's like various government agencies are after you, not minding your state of growth, not minding how you survive. So when you have that kind of hostile environment, then it is difficult for people to want to do the right thing. But of course, we tell them, doing the wrong thing lead us to the promised land. The answer is no. So we keep on striving to educate our members to ensure that we do the right thing. Tax compliance is the way forward and the way to go.
What are tax compliance strategies and why is it important? What are the benefits?
The strategies are enormous. The strategy, one, for you to, as a taxpayer, let me take it from the taxpayer's perspective. That's what we call tax planning. You see, gone are those days where it never matters. You have tax obligation as a secondary issue. You can't afford to do that anymore. In fact, one of the issues that can threaten your going concern as a business is tax default. If you don't handle your tax obligation very well, it can lead, it's a roadmap to going concern challenge. So as a company, as you are strategizing towards your purchases, as the case may be, towards your finance, towards your personnel and the likes, you must also have on top of the table your tax obligation. Depending on the size of the company, you could do it alone. Depending on the size, a nano, a micro business may not have the money to hire a tax consultant. But I tell you, as you expand, you need to do this. If you can't get an in-house tax manager or regulatory manager, as the case may be. So it is with the support of your tax manager or regulatory manager, if you can have an in-house one. Otherwise, you hire a consultant who can do that on your behalf. It is with that arrangement in place that you can do a good tax planning. And we all know what tax planning is. It is just arranging your activities within the dictates of the law in order to take advantage of certain things, certain steps. You know when to spend and what to spend on. You know those expenses that once we incur them will be allowable. You are allowed to take them from your turnover or income, as the case may be. And very important, many of the taxpayers and some of my colleagues actually fall foul of the law in this area. You can't, that is like I've said over on a number of occasions during this interview, tax is not sentiment. It is what the law says. So you don't expect the revenue officer to assume that you are a saint. That is not his business. He's not looking for a saint, neither is he looking for a devil. He's looking for a tax responsible citizen, either as an individual or as an artificial person. So if you are a tax responsible person, one of the things you must not fail to do is documentation. No matter how small, you must always document, because you rely on your knowledge and you think in 6 months' time, when the taxman comes, or 6 years' time when it comes, because it's within the power of the administrator to come even 6 years after, to come and look at your book. And you think, okay, because it rained in Lagos in 2022, that was the reason why I didn't have this document. That will not survive. So in your compliance strategy, documentation is key. You have a meeting with the revenue officers, and you get back to your office. Dear SYC, in line with our meeting today, please note the following as my understanding of our agreement. Let them acknowledge, put a copy in your file. How that letter will save you in another 2 years, you may not be able to imagine. If you are moving, maybe the company is temporarily closing down, and you believe you can't be in business for the next 6 months, but hopefully what I'm expecting in another 10 months will bring us back into business. Don't assume that FRS or revenue agencies are aware of that, your crisis. Write a letter to them immediately that as a result of the following, we are informing you that we are winding down or slowing down or reducing the activities of the company. Hopefully, the moment we get better, we get you involved. Let that letter be acknowledged, put it in your file. It will save you in future. These are little things that people may not pay attention to, but I see as part of your planning that we ensure that you comply. And of course, the people in the revenue agencies, even though we may have our differences because their focus is different, they want to maximize revenue, while the taxpayer wants to minimize tax obligation. Notwithstanding that difference in outlook, we are all still the same professional. And once we have all these ingredients on the table, the gap is reduced and area of divergence is also covered.
We all know that no nation grows by overtaxing or overburdening its citizens beyond their capacity to pay taxes. Therefore, government policies should not be allowed to frustrate any sector of the economy. As the president of the CITN, what measures do you propose government should take to promote the ease of doing business for both small and large businesses?
Okay, thank you very much. We've been on this for quite some time, and I will say it again. As the president of CITN today, the Institute appreciates President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his statement, the statement he made at the early days of his regime, that he's not a lover of multiplicity of taxes. That is fundamental. That is remarkable. He did not just make that comment, he also set up a committee to ensure that he will walk the talk. That committee is working very well. And I say this anywhere I go. And my colleagues also say the same thing. We can't sustain the myriad or the type of taxes we have in the country. It doesn't speak to sanity. You can't have 60 different type of taxes and you think you are living in a normal environment. So we are almost there. I know the committee is about to submit its report. So once you reduce this burden and you bring the type of taxes that the individual or corporate entity will pay under 9 or under 10, then of course, one, it is manageable and it is not complicated. You know as an individual what you are exposed to pay, either to the state internal revenue service or even at government, at local government level. So once this clarity is brought into the picture, it helps the system. The committee has also repeatedly been making a point, which CITN has been saying, I've been in this environment for quite some time, for over 15 years, that try and nurture the taxpayer you want tomorrow. Behave like the account officer in the bank. I'm a nano businessman and I have account with bank B or bank C or bank whatever. And the account officer, because my success is also a function of his promotion, is interested in my prosperity. So he advised me, okay, we have this product. If you know you can take this loan and you take this advantage from the market, we will support you, but ensure you pay. And once you take the loan, he also follows through. So we want the revenue authority in Nigeria that will nurture the taxpayer that they will collect money from tomorrow. If you are not able to collect today, don't kill that taxpayer. That is very critical. So sanitizing the tax space, making the taxpayer the king, protecting his interests, partnering with him in the journey along, we help the system. And of course, technology is helping us greatly and it's going to help us the more. We are going to a level whereby it will be difficult for the taxpayer to lie. In fact, what I'm envisaging, or what is in the pipeline, that it won't even be within the capacity of the taxpayer to lie, because there will be sufficient information in the hand of the revenue authority to make it difficult for people to lie. And I say this again, because it's very important. We've had backward and forward movement in terms of policies in this country. Governor Soludo, I think between 2004 thereabout, introduced or made popular cashless economy. Cashless economy has enormous benefit to this country. And of course, if you are a regular traveler, it has gotten to a level whereby you find it a little bit difficult carrying cash outside the country. You want to check into a hotel and they ask you for your card, and I don't have card. Then you are paying certain amount depending on the rate or the hotel you are lodging in. They kind of look at you, where is this man coming from? Why did you come with this amount of cash from your country to pay for hotel? So same way, cashless economy will help us, and it will help tax administration greatly. It will help compliance greatly. Now, fast forward from Soludo, the immediate past governor of CBN introduced cash Naira redesign. It's the same cashless economy. The name or whatever was given to it may be wrong. The implementation may be horrible. But let us not lose focus on the goal, on the ball. And what we need to do is to make sure that we bring a lot of people into the banking net, inclusivity of people within the banking system. We help Nigeria greatly, not only in tax planning and tax compliance, not only in security, provision of security for the country, not only in the area of planning and statistic gathering, but generally, when many of the people can be put within the banking net, it will help our growth greatly. This is my strong recommendation for the country.
Are you an advocate of granting tax relief to small businesses in the formal and informal sector to help them grow? If yes, what form of relief?
Well, my yes has been said since yesterday. It's a yes, yes. And I've said it just now. nurture the taxpayer you want. You don't start collecting money to the extent that the company is not able to survive till tomorrow. Let the company thrive. Nurture it, and starting from, if I may start from not too distant past, President Barr did very well in this regard through the instrumentality of Finance Act. It was under that regime that companies with turnover of not more than 25 million were exempted from certain tax obligations. The truth is that tax is an expense. It's a reduction from your asset, whether it is cash or whatever name you want to call it. It is a reduction in your ability to spend money. So, but the moment you allow the taxpayer to hold on to that money and keep circulating the money within his business, you are telling him, I am guaranteeing you possibility of expansion. So, a company with 50 million turnover, and you say, no, I'm interested in your survival and your growth. Don't do anything. Has the possibility of moving to 20, moving to 25, and moving above 25. So President Buhari, I must say this, did very well in that regard. President Tinubu has also taken it to the next level. If you follow the recent document on withholding tax, the exception and the convenience of payment, and the practical, the reality that withholding tax document has brought about, means that this government actually wants to sanitize the business environment. The hostility we talk about, I can see that somebody is listening by virtue of what has been done. Some of the recently, there's this policy that if you are bringing equipment, you are not going to pay tax on that. The essence is that you have money. Once you bring the equipment, you have money to clear the equipment, you have money to install, and you don't need to necessarily go to the bank. Because once you bring equipment, depending on the nature of business you are, the company may not make money for the first 1 year, 2 years, as the case may be. So once you reduce the burden of bringing the equipment into the system, you are only supporting or partnering with the company. So this kind of relief from small businesses is very key, even at individual level. The former or the current personal income tax, except minimum wage, which is almost which used to be 30,000. So somebody collecting 30,000, then anyway, we know the purchasing power is very low. So it is a very reasonable and a policy that we can say, or the law we can say, that speaks to human face. Now the minimum wage has moved to 70,000. And because I live in this country, and because I don't intend to live in another country, at least on a permanent basis, I think, personal opinion, I'm not speaking for CITN, personal opinion, I don't think anybody receiving 100,000 should be subjected to tax. This is to allow them to have sufficient disposable income. And once they have sufficient, you see this thing moves around. It's a system. Let them thrive, let them breathe, let them have money in their pocket. They'll be able to purchase. Once they purchase, the stock level will reduce. Once the stock level is reduced by the manufacturers, it's able to produce more. Once it's able to produce more, the economy is growing. Once the economy is growing, the government will be the one who will collect the money. So we need to see this thing holistically and ensure that we allow those that are coming. And whoever is the president of this country is a fortunate person. And I say this with all sense of responsibility. We have, Nigerians are enterprising people. Lot of ideas. Move around. Don't just stay in a place. Move around. Go to Sokoto. I was in one of the states in the north, and they were to give me gift. If you see the gift they produce under 24 hours, You will marvel. With Sokoto, if you see the gift, the art design gift given to me under 24 hours, the governor got to know I was around and he knew I would be living by those. I was okay, when we meet, this and that. When that was given to me, I was marvel. So you are presiding over enterprising, creative people. So let there be policies that will let them thrive so that you will benefit from their creativity tomorrow. That is the way to go. And I'm happy from my corner, the little I could see. And I said, starting from President Buhari. But the current leaders seems to be very conscious of this, and they are listening within the space of what I know, within the space of economy, the sector where I play. They are listening, and they need to listen more, particularly in the area of spending. Your king cannot be fasting, and you, the servant, will be eating fat. The leader should not eat more than the taxpayer. This is key. It's reality. We respect your office, we respect what you hold, we respect that you are leaders, but spend whatever money is given to you responsibly to engender confidence of the taxpayer. Once this is done, Nigeria will be great. You see, I just keep on seeing possibility in this country. I just keep on seeing possibility, and I can't get tired of being optimistic because I've been to various other countries, and I know it is not as green as we tend to paint it, and it is not as dry as we tend to paint it in this country. That is my honest view.
Thank you very much, sir. Would like to get your opinion on the proposed 50% windfall tax on the foreign exchange transactions conducted by money deposit banks.
Well, thank you. I made my point, mine now, the Institute, our position. We made that known last week. And let me use this opportunity to clarify, because there has been backlash from some of my colleagues in other professional space. CITN support the windfall tax. CITN support it. We call it windfall tax in Nigeria. It is called prosperity tax in some other clime. Whatever name you give to it, it is classical economics. You move funds from surplus to deficit. Taxation itself is an instrument for redistribution of income. So nothing new has been done. And I say this because I know this is Lagos, this is Ikeja. Go some miles away from here to Obakran. We know what Obakran, the Ikeja Industrial Estate, used to be in the 80s, in the 70s, and even up to early 90s. And we know what it is today. Unfortunately, some of the major companies in Obakran have been taken over by banks. So let us, can we ask ourselves, what is going on here? The bank is supposed to benefit from the real sector, the manufacturing sector. But the bank is thriving, the manufacturing sector is dying. So what can we do some research into what is causing this, or what is the reality before us? But let me restrict myself strictly to the windfall tax. It is even in the best interest of the bank to ensure that they give, but we may need to appeal to them, because in the first instance, this whatever they have as the profit has been subjected to company income tax. So I will always speak against double taxation. But for a moment, this is not a normal period. You have been able to, you've benefited from the situations in the country. And as a result, we thank you, we appreciate you. And we can't even thank the banking sector enough because of their creativity. We know what banking activities used to be in Nigeria some years ago. So the great people in that sector, we need to give them, we need to appreciate them for their ingenuity. But this is where we are. If you are prosperous and you keep it to yourself alone, the noise of your neighbor who are not doing well, we know how you to sleep. Is this as common, or is this as simple as that? So can we take a little from your prosperity? Somebody told me it's not a little. Okay, can we take some from your prosperity and use it to augment whatever deficit we have here? That I support. Now it is not, the federal government, the executive arm of the government proposed 50%. The National Assembly increased it to 70%. Now the question is 70 not on the high side? I will say yes. Because you have just asked this bank to go and recapitalize. So don't take their resilience also for granted. Don't breathe too close to their neck at the same time. So I would rather want a lower percentage, but I support the tax. I would rather want a lower percentage, but I think it's become a law now, or it's almost becoming a law. So we need to live with it, and we pray that the manufacturing sector in another 5 years will also do very well, serving the great population we have in the country, to the extent that we say, okay, can we move money from manufacturing sectors, even to the farming or to another sector we may consider necessary for that. So we support. The percentage can come down a little bit.
Finally, before we let you go, you have a 2-year term, 1 year gone. What should we expect? Where do you see the Institute in the nearest future?
I see the Institute in the forefront. I see the Institute resolving problems for the country. I see the Institute offering solutions into whatever problem we have. It is not about professional having the knowledge. Even the taxpayer must have the knowledge. The policymaker, the political leaders need the knowledge. So that having traveled around the country very well, nobody can tell me there's a state that is disadvantaged. Nobody. I've gone around the country, so I know Nigeria very well. Nobody can tell me any part of this country is disadvantaged. What you are not paying attention to is that you are not looking at the advantages you have. So CITN, we keep on doing a lot of awareness, training, not only to our members, but even to the general public, particularly the taxpayer, because this is key, and government officials, so that together we can make this country great. I don't want to live in Canada. I don't want to live in any other place other than Nigeria. Take me to Sokoto, I want to live in Sokoto. Take me to Osun, I want to live in Osun. Take me to Bayelsa, I want to live there, but not in Canada. And so it is in my interest, and it is in the interest of majority of the people. Nigeria are great people. They want to live in this country. Even some of the people outside this country, they want to return. But how do we return? How do they return to this country? Is by making Nigeria a livable and prosperous country. So we will keep on offering solutions to our various problems. We will keep on writing. Some of the suggestions we make to the government, we don't publicize because we have the channel of communication. So we don't dance to the gallery, except it is necessary. So we can't keep on doing this because our focus is that Nigeria must be great. We must lead the black nation with pride. And once Nigeria is successful, other black nations will be successful. And I think everybody must be interested in this.
I agree with you. Of course, Nigeria must lead the African continent, and we all must join hands to make this work, because taxation is for nation development.
Exactly.
We thank you, Barrister Agbeluyi. It's really a pleasure chatting with you today.
Thank you very much.
For up-to-date information and education on taxation, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.